Greetings, Bat family. Welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. Make sure you visit our website, holybatcast.com, or find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast and you will find us. If you love the show, you want to help support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And as always, a big thank you to our patrons. You guys are awesome. You make our lives so much easier, and we do appreciate it. And I got to give a shout out to our latest patron, Mr. Sean Gilmore. Sean, thank you so much for your pledge. Thank you for being a part of the family. It really means a lot. And so, yeah, you guys are amazing. And we couldn't do it without you. So thank you to Sean, and thank you to all our patrons. You guys are awesome. We're part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm Andy DiGenova. I'm your host. You can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. It's been a couple weeks since we've done one of these in a timely manner because I was out of town visiting family. Got to hang out with Jamie in real life, which was exciting. So the last couple episodes were done a little bit out of order. So what we're doing today, we're just going to catch up on what we missed. Little tidbits, little DC news, hopefully some Batman stuff over the past couple weeks as I have been gone and we haven't been recording in real time. So we're going to catch up on that news and we're going to catch up on what you guys are saying in the Wayne Manor mailbox. And joining me for all that is Jamie Drewley. Hey, Jamie, welcome back.
What's going on, man? Long time no see.
I know. I mean, like I said, I actually got to see you in real life, so that was exciting.
It was pretty cool. I'm kind of disappointed that Brendan snuffed us, but you know.
I know. He was invited. He just apparently has better things to do.
That whole other side of the world excuse.
Whatever.
Shame on him.
Whatever. I would have paid 10% of his travel expenses.
10% is probably still enough, but yeah.
But, you know, it's okay. It's like, you learn sometimes that you love your friends more than they love you, and that's okay.
Yeah. And, you know, his wife missed out on the wife bounce house adventure.
I know, exactly.
Some really good eating was done at that thing. So, yeah,
oh, my God, we had so much extra food and so much extra beer.
Kimber's like, hey, should we take some of that home? I'm like, no, I don't need to eat all that. I've eaten plenty here today. So
you should have.
I probably should have. But
instead,
no.
our family, it was like, here, take it all. My nephew, he took a whole container of probably a dozen corn muffins.
Oh, God, those things were so
And he was going to eat them all himself. And I'm like, good, do it. It's all for you.
I must have eaten like 6 of those things. They were great.
Anyway, it's good to be back. We did miss Brendan, but oh well.
Yeah, pooey on him.
Anyway, it's good to be back. We got a lot of Batman to talk, but before we talk about that, we got to talk about Manscaped. So I thanked our patrons. I also got to thank Manscaped for being the sponsors of Holy BatCast. We appreciate them. Hopefully they appreciate us. They appreciate us. Oh my God, man. Sunday mornings. Anyway, Manscaped this month. We're in July now. Crap. They want you to keep an eye on your bush for July. So they say, hey, you got bush? You definitely do. And if you haven't tried the best products from our sponsor, Manscaped, taking control of your bush is important. These products are so good, you're going to be showing pride in your new bush-free yard. It's the fact that you'll have the best-kept nutsack on the cul-de-sac. Save big and be the most hygienic version of yourself and use our discount code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. So please check out some of the products over at manscaped.com. Again, the Premium Package 4.0 or the Performance Package 4.0. Those are great little sampler platters to allow you to try a bunch of Manscaped products. The important thing is to get that Lawnmower 4.0. Trim up that bush. It's easy. It's pain-free. For me, it's been blood-free. I can't guarantee it, but I'm just saying, for me, I don't bleed. That's worth it just there. It's got that nice little LED light. Helps guide you. Helps you find your way through the bush. And yeah, check out all those things. If you want to make a purchase, though, make sure you do use BATSCAPED. It gives you that 20% off and free shipping. And look at this. Look at how in the zeitgeist Manscaped is. They said Kate Bush may be trending at the moment, but your bush needs some help. Yeah.
Well played.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. I did join the group of, well, the millions of people who like have rediscovered that song, and I've added it. But that's not it. That's not what we're talking about right now. So anyway, go to Manscaped, do a little trimming, trim up your bush for the summer, for July. But if you're gonna make that purchase again, use BatScaped. Get that extra 20% off. And even if they're running a special, even if there's already a discount on the website, still use BatScaped because you get the additional 20% off. It's not one or the other. You get both, and you can't beat it. So treat yourself to something nice, and while you're doing that, you're also supporting us at Holy BatCast, and we thank you. So you deserve it. Buy yourself something. Use BatScaped. Get the discount, and that way they know you heard about them from us. So thanks for doing that, guys. We appreciate it. Go make yourself a purchase. I will say at our big party, because this is what we did last week was, we had a COVID wedding last year, so this was like our 1 year anniversary / reception. And Jamie walked right up to me using his Manscaped lip balm. He's like, look at that. Look at that. I'm like, yeah, I know. I got mine in my pocket too. So it's not just about trimming that bush. The lip balm was very helpful as I was out in the sun for the entire last week. So they got great stuff. And just use that promo code BATSCAPE for 20% off. Please do.
Yeah, they help you take care of yourself, and that's an important thing to do. And not just with the trimming, but lots of other stuff as well, man. I'm loving the body wash and the deodorant. I know I said it before, but I'll keep saying it. That stuff is wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know. I think I just saw Brendan. He had to replenish because he used all his up. So that's always a good sign. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about Batman. Let's talk about DC. The first piece of news, it's a couple weeks old, but it's a very odd one. But once I read it in context, it makes a little more sense. So there is an animated Aztec Batman movie that is being produced and coming to HBO Max. But here's the thing. It's because it's part of HBO Max Latin America. And they are specifically trying to create content that celebrates Latin America. And so this is a way for them to use IP at WB, at DC, that already exists, that will get eyeballs on it, and then kind of dovetailing that with Latin American content. So yeah, it's an Aztec Batman movie. It's called Batman Azteca Choque de Imperios, or Aztec Batman Clash of the Empires. It's set in Mexico at the time of the conquistadors, and it is going to be in Spanish. And so here's what it says. Here's the little synopsis. It says, in the time of the Aztec Empire, these names. Yohuali Coto, a young Aztec boy, experiences tragedy when his father and village leader are murdered by Spanish conquistadors. Yahuali escapes to Nachalin to warn King Montezuma about a high priest Yoka of imminent danger. Using the temple, the Bat God, as a lair, he trains with his mentor and assistant, Akatzin, who I guess is probably Alfred, developing equipment and weaponry to confront the Spaniard invasion, protecting Montezuma's temple, and to avenge his father's death. So I do wonder if it's going to be one of those things like Batman Ninja, where it was made for a certain region in a certain language, but we will get the English version in America anyway, just they made it. So, and it's Batman, so they, want to get as many eyeballs on it. But it's one of those things I think Brendan sent to us, and we're like, what? Weird.
No, that was me.
Oh, you sent it?
I read it and sent it, yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like, again, you read it and you're like, oh, it's for HBO Max Latin America. They're making it in Spanish. It's this very specific choice. I'm like, oh, okay. That makes more sense. But anyway, how you feeling about Aztec Batman?
I mean, it's not anything that I have any strong sense of yay or nay about. I will say, as per usual, I mean, I applaud DC for how inclusive and broad spectrum they try to be with so many things of inclusion to make sure that there's representation in so many different areas. And this is another one of those where, I guess Latinx is what the correct thing to say is now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Latinx representation is a little shortchanged from what I can see. So it's great that they're getting something going there. And this seems to me like it could be one of those things that's absolutely crazy, but it could be like really super cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they turn out. If it's for me, great. I'm all in. If it's not, then I'm really glad they made it for somebody who they would be more into it than I would. Is I guess the best way I can say it.
Yeah,
I can tell you this: you were having some struggles with those names, and I've read some books by an author named Steve Alton, who's the guy that wrote the Meg.
Yeah.
And that whole series. He also did another one about Aztec and maybe Mayan stuff going on back in the old days and how it translates into today. And there's like Quetzalcoatl, and I'm like reading this book and I'm like, I can't pronounce that. I can't pronounce that. So eventually it's like it becomes a harder read for me. So I'm hoping hearing it done verbally, or if it's subtitled, which is probably the right way to do it anyhow, I might have a little bit of a struggle. But those names are difficult for my tongue to get around.
I mean, yeah, they are. And hopefully people will forgive us, but yeah. And I honestly, I feel the same way as you. It's like, it doesn't sound like it's being made for me, and that's okay. It's interesting. The artwork is actually very cool of what Aztec Batman looks like, because he literally has like this big bat head for a cowl. And so it's just like, yeah, why not? Why the heck not? Is that kind of where same way I felt about Batman Ninja is, even if it's not for me, like they're branching out, they're doing something unique, and if there's an audience for it, then awesome. I support them, and for anybody who it's their thing, then great. Will I still watch it? Probably, as long as it's available. I'll still probably check it out. It's a version of Batman, and I can't say no to that. But yeah, like I'm just sort of like, all right, well, go for it. Why the heck not? I support you. Hope it works out. Hope people love it. And yeah, if it's something that is, again, a very deliberate choice to celebrate that culture and using Batman to bring that culture to more people and more eyeballs, that's awesome. Good on them.
Sounds like we're in the same boat here.
Yeah. So interesting, unexpected, but again, why the heck not? Let's talk about toys. We don't talk about toys enough. But I still love toys. I still go down the toy aisle every time I go to Target. And I'll tell you what, a couple weeks ago we were at Target, and because I had an issue with the NECA Batman 89 grapnel gun replica. I posted that on like Twitter and stuff, and it's so cool. But NECA got a little too cute with it. And they made it actually fire and then retract, which sounds like a cute idea. Except the first one I bought was broken, and you can't retract it unless it works, unless there's batteries in it and it works. So it was already kind of pointless because I couldn't get the damn grapnel to retract into the gun. So I had to go return it. It was very annoying. Anyway, here's my point. I did return it. I got one that worked. It's fine now. I emailed NECA and I was like, guys, you really telling me I can't even display this thing unless I have one that works? And they were just like, sorry, return it to Target, which was not helpful. NECA, not helpful at all, because they're hard to find to begin with. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on this little rant, but I'm just saying, it's such a cool piece. Most people are going to use it for a display. You're not going to play with it, or you're going to shoot it one time and go, oh, that's neat, and then you're going to put it on display. How do you not have an option where I can manually just retract the projectile so I can put it on display? Come on, guys. Anyway, went back to Target. Fortunately, we found a Target that did have another one, so I was able to get it replaced. But we were back there. You know how Target has like the little collectible section? Have you been back there?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. It's wonderful. It's good and it's bad, but it's good. And we were back there, and I was getting my gun, and Catherine's like, "Oh, look, they have a Batarang," and I was like, "I know." She goes, "Do you have this one?" I'm like, "No, but I'm good right now." But they also back there is where they have all the McFarlane Batman 66 action figures.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Have you bought any of these?" And I'm like, "I have not." And she's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Because I can't buy just one. I will get them all." And I bought all the ones they released, whatever it was now, 10 years ago. And so I have all those, but this new line of McFarlane ones, I did not start with that because I would just keep going. And she's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, I know, but I'd be too tempted, and then it would go. And my point is, this very long prelude is all to say that the McFarlane Batman 66 line is continuing, and they just announced their 4th wave. And these are really cool. Again, I'm very tempted because they're really great, but I still haven't done it. But in the fourth wave, there's some really cool stuff. The first things that I think are actually kind of weird is they have a black and white Batman and Joker. Like, why do you want a black and white version from Batman 66?
For the impulsive people who can't just buy one thing and have to have the entire set once they start. And it's a really low cost way to get another variant out there for people to spend their money on.
I guess, but I'm like, the whole thing is like Batman in color, right? The whole part of the reason the show was so popular and so cool was how colorful it was. Why would I want a black and white version?
Now, I personally, and they probably don't have the rights, and it would probably be a nightmare trying to track it down. If they did black and whites of like the old 1940s serials, that would have been a cool idea.
Yeah, that exactly. That would make more sense. But anyway, so I don't know, for people who want black and white Batman and Joker.
I mean, there's a whole line of the what do they call them, maquettes or the little statues? That's the black and white series. I mean, it's like the whole Batman universe.
Yeah.
And people are like way deep into that. Personally, it's not my thing. I've never gotten into it, but like that's a big thing. That's been going on for years. So maybe they're, appealing to that crowd, I guess. Well,
and what it says here, which I'm kind of like, meh, basically they're like, oh, it's an homage to people who had to watch the show on a black and white TV. And I'm like, okay.
There certainly would have been some of them, I suppose.
Feels like a stretch, but sure. Anyway, the point is, I'm not going to be tempted by the black and white ones.
I get it.
But also included in this fourth wave is season 1 Catwoman, so Julie Newmar Catwoman, which is crazy that was not part of the original line. But I have seen the Eartha Kitt Catwoman up on the shelves, and I've been tempted. But yeah, now Julie Newmar gets hers. It could have been delayed because it could have been like a likeness thing. They had to get that approved or something. The Otto Preminger version of Mr. Freeze. Because if you remember, in Batman 66, there were 3 different actors who played Mr. Freeze.
That seemed to be a recurring theme with a lot of them, yes.
The Bat Cycle, which looks exactly how you'd expect it to. But here is the coolest thing that
Does it have the sidecar that launches, though?
Yes, it does. I don't know if it launches, but it certainly has a sidecar. But here is the coolest thing that is the most tempting for me. There is the Villain's Lair playset.
Oh.
And it is the lair from the Batman the movie villains. What was it? The United Underworld.
So they all have like their own little shelves.
Yes. So it's the table, it's the shelves that say jokes, penguin food, riddles. There's a filing cabinet. The only thing is that instead of the United Underworld artwork, if you remember from the movie, which was that octopus, it is artwork of the 4 villains of Joker, Riddler, Penguin, and Catwoman. But otherwise it looks exactly like the movie, and I'm like, damn it, like that is so cool. That is what I mean, much like what I see on the shelves, the Batcave playset, which also looks amazing. This is great. I'm like, oh man, see that makes me go, okay, I want the Batcave with Batman and Robin and Batgirl, and I want the Villain's Lair with Joker, Penguin, Riddler, Catwoman. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but it's really cool, and hats off to them for recreating what I consider a very iconic location.
Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and demand it. We need a UN playset. We need a playset of the seedy bar at the dock where, he's trying to save everybody from the bomb. And most importantly, we need Commodore Schmidlap's room.
Oh my God. We just need Commodore Schmidlap.
No, there's that too.
Yeah. So anyway, very cool for anybody who does collect
with
these.
The penguin henchman outside blowing the foghorn and splashing the water around.
Yep. So anyone who is collecting these, your collecting days are not over because they keep doing it, which means people are buying them, which is always great. Again, I want them. I've just been able to control myself thus far, but cool stuff coming. And yeah, the pictures, you can find them out there. Just search for them. The pictures I found are on Batman News, so you can check that out. But that's not it for toys, because they also released photos of the Black Adam McFarlane toys. And so we've got Black Adam, the Justice Society, and a villain. Hold on, let me find it, because it's a villain whose name I forget. But it would be our first look at this particular villain. Where are you? There he is.
Now, do you happen to know, is McFarlane like Lego and some of the other ones where you think you're getting some kind of a giveaway or spoiler, but it turns out it has absolutely nothing to do with anything else?
Not so far that I recall. I feel like when they do the movie tie-ins, it's all pretty on the ball. At least it was for the Batman. You know, like that was the latest one I can think of where they did a whole line for the movie and all of them were very accurate to the movie.
So Target had some kind of, I don't know if they still have it, but they had like an exclusive deal where like Justice League or DC toys were a Target thing. And of course they had that box set of the 12-inch figures for BVS. It was like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Lex in the power suit. And we all flipped our wigs and lost our minds because we're like, hell yeah, we're going to get the power suit. And we didn't get a power suit. So that's what I'm talking about. You know,
yeah. That was before McFarlane took
in there.
Yeah, that was before McFarlane took over the.
Right. I'm just saying, I don't know if McFarlane is like that, where they put additional things in there that have nothing to do with the movie. That's what I was asking.
Right. Not that I have seen. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
But it appears that this is our first look at the villain for Black Adam, or if we've seen him prior, I have not seen him. So his name is Sabak.
Like the card game in Star Wars?
Or Sabak. I don't know how you say it. Sabak. He's pretty awesome looking, honestly. So anyway, here's what you've got: Black Adam himself, you got Atom Smasher, you got Hawkman, you got Dr. Fate, you got Cyclone, and you've got Sabak. And they're all really great. You know, the McFarlane, they do a great job with the sculpts. Everybody looks really good here. But I do think that Sabak is the big reveal, because my guess is this is the villain of the movie. He looks like a demon. You know, he kind of has a Trigon energy about him. And so what it says here is, it says, possessed by a demon, a military intergang leader transforms into Sabak, the only being whose powers are equal to those of Black Adam.
So does that mean the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to shift again?
Apparently.
Okay.
So there we go. I think this is the greater evil that is going to bring Black Adam and the Justice Society together. But again, he looks awesome. He looks, like a demon. Big horns, red skin, like very cool. So anyway, all the figures look great. They tend to anyway. We've already talked about the designs for the Justice Society and Black Adam. They're all very consistent. But yeah, these all look great. Much like the Batman 66 ones, I haven't been buying too many of these. I can't remember the last one I did buy. It's been a minute. Just because, again, room, and most of them end up in my closet because I run out of room. But these are awesome if it's your thing, and my guess is they're going to be coming out soon.
One thing you can't say about McFarlane stuff is they don't put detail into their work. I don't know if you got into like the Spawn action figures they were doing.
Oh yeah, way back when, for sure.
Like the zombie Spawn, and there was a great big like furry monster Hulk Spawn variant thing. Like none of it was stuff that I remember seeing in the books that I was reading. But man, they were cool, and I would buy them just because they looked awesome hanging on a wall or something. So
yeah, nope, they're great.
Great detail in that stuff.
Yep, they're great if you're a collector. We'll see how psyched I get as the movie starts to come out, and whether or not I pull the trigger on any of these too. But I'm always tempted. But again, I feel like it's been a while since I've bought them. Since I've really got, I want to say maybe Aquaman was the last one I really dove into the multiverse figures for.
That's another series that just doesn't seem to let up. Every time I go by the toy section at Target, just like you, it's like, oh, this is a completely different set with characters that I've never seen.
Oh, well, that's just it. Is McFarlane has taken over the multiverse line.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. So they're one and the same.
That's a hardworking group of folks then, because I'm telling you, once a month or so, I'll go through that section, and I feel like I'd never see the same thing twice. So.
Yeah, I know. Although I think that you got a Dark Knight Returns one this year, didn't you?
I did.
All right, yeah. Good. All right, so that's it for toys. Keep an eye out at your local Target or wherever you get your toy shopping. Let's talk about comics for a second, because it is comics I'm excited about. Tim Drake is getting his own solo series again.
Good.
Yeah. About freaking time.
Is this an ongoing or a limited?
It is ongoing.
Good. Who's writing?
Let's see here. Here's the official press release. Spinning out of Batman Urban Legends and the Tim Drake Pride Special, writer Megan Fitzmartin continues the next chapter of Tim's story with fan favorite artist Riley Rossmo. This kinetic high-energy series pulls Tim center stage as a mystery over a year in the making takes shape. A new villain who's been hounding Tim from afar decides to take things up close and personal, putting Bernard and everyone else Tim cares for in peril. All that, and Tim finally carves out a corner of Gotham City just for himself and sets up shop in his very own Murder Shack boat. If that wasn't enough, break out your skateboards and motorcycles because DC has assembled a rogues gallery of artists to capture all of Tim's iconic looks over the years, with a 1 year later era variant by Jorge Jimenez, a 125 debut area variant by Sweeney Boo, a 150 Young Justice era variant by Dan Mora, and a 100 Teen Titans era variant by Jamal Campbell, with main cover by Ricardo Lopez Ortiz. Tim Drake fans can get caught up on the beginning of the story with the Tim Drake Pride Special on sale now. And Damian fans needn't worry, the youngest Wayne's adventures as Robin will continue in Batman vs. Robin, written by Mark Waid, with art by Mahmoud Asrar, on sale September 13th.
I'm so out of the loop in comics. Very few of those. I mean, Mark Waid, I obviously recognize that name, but what did you say it was, Megan Fitzgerald or something like that?
Megan Fitzmartin, and she's the one who's been writing the Tim stories in Batman Urban Legends, which have been very good.
Okay. I haven't read any of those, but I mean, Drake has such a loyal following, even if it's not like the mass following like, Dick or even, I guess, Jason to an extent. I mean, but Drake's followers are so loyal. I'm really glad that something like this is happening for the people who have demanded he get a little bit more of the spotlight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's long overdue.
Yeah. I agree. I'm super psyched. This is one that I will actually subscribe to, which I have not done in a long time. A lot of these variant covers are really great too. I'm also a huge fan of Jorge Jimenez. He's been doing the main Batman book for quite a while now, and I think his work is great. But yeah, there's some great artwork
when
here.
Took over, or
what was that?
Was it Tynan that took over after?
Yeah.
King? Was he the artist for Tynan when he did?
Yes.
Because I've read some of that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he does good work then.
Yeah, he's great. And Dan Mora is another one that I've just really fallen in love with. His stuff is amazing. But anyway, this new series is called Tim Drake Robin. So I'm super psyched. Yep, I'm super psyched for it. Comes out in September. Can't wait. I'm one of those big Tim Drake fans who've been waiting for more Tim Drake, and that's why I've been buying Urban Legends, because that's where I can get my Tim Drake stories. So I'm excited about this. This is awesome.
Sounds like it.
So, speaking of comic books, we lost another one. Another legend has passed on. So I feel like at this point, we need to go find Jose Luis Garcia Lopez and wrap him in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Because, geez, we lost Tim Sale. So, God, we said goodbye to George Perez. We said goodbye to Neil Adams, and now we have to say goodbye to Tim Sale. What a freaking bummer. He passed away, I think, on June 16th. He was only 66. Not even that old.
And I didn't even think he was that old, honestly.
Yeah. And I don't know if we know what he passed, like what it was. There was no details. It was like there was like a day or two before Jim Lee sent this out of like, hey, Tim Sale's been admitted to the hospital. We're all thinking about him, and everybody was like, oh no, not Tim Sale. And then a day or two later he passed away, which is so heartbreaking because he was only 66 and he's still working. He just did the Long Halloween special last year. That was great. And so just another heartbreaker, another legend, and someone else though because of his work on The Long Halloween and Dark Victory and, Haunted Night and Catwoman When in Rome and just so much, I mean, obviously a lot.
He's worked on some legendary runs.
Yeah. I mean, some that are considered some of the best Batman stories of all time. And then not to mention, stuff at Marvel, Daredevil, Captain America, Hulk, Wolverine and Gambit, which I forgot he did that one. So, I mean, he's been working for many years and yeah, truly worked on some truly iconic and legendary books and stories. So his legacy is cemented, but yeah, just way too young to go at 66.
It was kind of a whirlwind with the loss of those big three names in there, but this one really surprised me more than the other ones did. I mean, the Neil Adams, because of the age, it's hard to be truly stunned by that.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course with George Perez, we kind of, I mean,
we got warned about a year in advance, right?
Yeah. We knew it was coming. We just didn't like it when it eventually got here. But I mean, like you said with him, it was just boom, boom.
I know.
Very, very surprising. Very surprising.
Yeah.
And I've said on the show before, especially, we did the Long Halloween long review. So we spent a year talking about this book and this story. And there were times where I was critical about Sale's artwork. I mean, I liked some of his artwork. I didn't like all of it. But the one thing that I truly love and respect about him, and he's one of those artists, you pretty much know it's his work the second you lay your eyes on it. And for an artist to have that kind of a signature style where it's so instantly recognizable of being like, you look at something like that, yeah, that's Sale's work. I love that about him, even if I didn't like every single panel that I looked at, because to have your own way and your own distinction and to just make things your own is a rare thing. Because like so much of the artistry out there in comics tends to kind of look the same or doesn't have a lot of personality to it. But in his case, like everything you saw, I mean, Mike Mignola is another one that's much along those lines. I'm not a big fan of his work, but like you look at his stuff and you know it's him when you look at it. And Sale is one of those rare breeds like that where everything he did was him putting his spin or unique take on the characters and their look and their presentation. And I don't think we see enough of that. I mean, to me, that's really what art is somebody putting themselves into it. And I really feel like he did it with the best of them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's so true that when you saw Sale's artwork, it was unmistakably his. And you got to love that. And I think that, you and I saw eye to eye is his style was never my favorite. But what I loved is that it was just so unmistakably him. And it gave those books, those stories, just a look and feel all their own, and I think that what I've said is, even though his artwork isn't necessarily my preferred style, I love it in the context of The Long Halloween because it just is so perfect for that story. And it just gives, again, that entire story such an identity that it's half writing, but it's half artwork and Tim Sale's artwork. And there's some really, truly beautiful and iconic pages and images that came from that story and many of the others that, yeah, like they're up there with some of the best Batman images of all time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, what a shame, what a legend, and but man, what a body of work too.
Yep. His stuff's gonna live on forever.
Yeah. But again, like like you said, this is not one you would have seen coming because he's been working. It's not like he retired, It's like he's been working, so it's just such a shame. Oh man,
we should have done this first.
I know, I felt like that too, but I was trying to, I don't know, I was just kind of putting things in a certain order. But
no, I get it. It's just you kind of get that downswing and that lull, and it brings the room down.
Yeah, there you go. I brought the room down in the middle of all the news, so hopefully you'll forgive, but. Oh man, Tim Sale. Yeah. Godspeed, but again, like work that will live on forever, which is, I think, what all of us could hope for.
I'll say the same thing with Tim Sale that I said with Neil Adams and George Perez. God must have had a really good idea for a book up there, and he wanted the best creative team he could get.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, let's move forward. This is also comic book based, but this is in relation to Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con is coming up. It is crazy how it does not dominate the news cycle like it did just a few short years ago.
I'm interested to see what the crowds are like now.
Yeah. Well, Catherine and I even said, is like, we have badges sitting there waiting for us for Comic-Con, but we're not going this year because we're across the country. But we still have our, our professional status, so they still have the badges for us, but we're like, yeah, we're not going to make it. But the Hollywood Reporter reported that DC will not be doing a booth this year at Comic-Con.
Really?
Yeah.
So no Warner Brothers either, right?
Well, so Warner Brothers Discovery will have some presence because they're doing panels for the Game of Thrones prequel, for Sandman, for Riverdale. So, but nothing for Superman and Lois, nothing for The Flash.
If I can just interject right here, I started pacing myself on Superman and Lois. It turns out I read yesterday season 2 is supposed to hit HBO Max. I think it was July 29th. Because they just had like the season finale like a week or two ago on the network. So it sounds like it's one of those deals after the final episode airs, like 30 days later it hits HBO Max. Okay.
Well, so here's the thing is that was coming, and so it went on sale on iTunes, so I just bought it, and we've been watching season 2, so we're almost at the end of season 2.
Okay. Well, I haven't started season 2 because I haven't finished season 1 yet. I'm on like episode 13. I think there's 15 episodes. I think I'm on 13. But there was an episode... I could be wrong on the count, but maybe like 11, where it was like flashbacks to him and Lois meeting.
Oh, that was so good.
That was some of the best Superman motion content I've ever seen, movie, TV, animated, or otherwise, that I've seen in a very long time, maybe ever. I mean, I really, really, really enjoyed that episode a lot.
Yeah,
and I think the whole show's been great.
It was a damn good Superman movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It was amazing.
So anyway, I wanted to give a quick shout out to that. And
well, you jumped ahead because my next item is Superman and Lois. But okay, go ahead.
My bad. Sorry.
That's okay. Go off then. No. Anyway, let's finish up Comic-Con, then we'll get to Superman and Lois.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yes, I agree with you. That episode's amazing. What I was going to say is this is interesting, but it certainly shows further the deconstruction of San Diego Comic-Con, I guess we'll put it that way, in that DC has set up their own thing with fandom, and Marvel has sort of done its own thing, their own events as well, where it's no longer about Comic-Con anymore, which is interesting. I think it's a double-edged sword. I think for someone who went to Comic-Con for years, it was always nice to get those big, exciting things like the WB panel or, the DC booth. Like, that was always the highlight for me. But it also meant I had to plan my entire weekend around those things, which means I missed a lot of other things for them. So I guess what I like though is by making Comic-Con a little decentralized, if you will. And so the big two players, Marvel and DC, doing their own things, I think it allows Comic-Con to go back to its roots in a lot of ways, where you don't have to waste a whole day in line just to see one panel. You can just enjoy the show with a lot of the smaller offerings. And I think that's probably a good thing. So this doesn't bother me because we know we have fandom. And again, Marvel does their own stuff. And I just think it makes Comic-Con a little more user-friendly for those who are still going. And we'd still be going if we live closer. We might go again in future years once Harley's a little older, but yeah, it's an interesting shift, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
I wonder how it will affect the attendance numbers. The whole pandemic thing aside, in that they don't have those big panel rooms for movie stuff like that.
Yeah.
At least not in the same sense.
Yeah.
Because I always thought to myself, and I've never done a Comic-Con. I've done 2 of the Star Wars celebrations. I did 2 and 3 for that. And I did a lot of waiting in lines for, like especially meeting Carrie Fisher. God, we were outside at, 10 o'clock the night before waiting to meet her just to be in line to make sure we did. And I feel like if I went to Comic-Con, I'd be one of those people. I'd want to be on the vendor floor looking for comics that I've been hunting for forever, thinking that's the best shot I'd ever see them. And if I spend, 12 to 24 hours or who knows how long waiting in a line to sit in a room for them to unveil announcements or trailers or anything like that, I feel like I will have missed some of the experience and I will have had to sacrifice. And I understand big events like that, you have to pick and choose anyway. You can't do everything. But I feel like, to me, this makes it more what the event was about to begin with. So I support this idea. I think it's a good idea to do it.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
you can't experience the energy of the room when they announce who's going to play the next Batman or something like that, or when they unveil a new Avengers trailer. You don't get that energy, but you can still see that stuff online. And there's other things going on at Comic Cons or any big conventions where you can only really experience it there and nowhere else. So to me, I think this is a good idea, even if it may take away a little bit of the crowd. Of course, I don't like big crowds anyway, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't, I mean, having no booth, I think, is maybe a step too far. Like, I understand, like, not doing the big WB panel anymore and using fandom for that, but not having any presence on the floor is disappointing.
Especially DC being, one of the two big hitters in the comic book world, and you're at the biggest comic book convention on the planet.
Yeah.
That part really does kind of puzzle me.
Yeah. But yeah, it was almost like Comic-Con got so big that it collapsed under its own weight, and now it's recentering itself as to what it's going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Speaking about Superman and Lois, like I said, we're very close to the end of season 2 now. I think we have 3 episodes to go because, yes, I knew that as soon as it went on sale, I'm like, oh, that means it'll be on HBO Max soon. But we were traveling, and so I was like, I'll just buy it so we can watch it on the plane. And so we have gotten through a lot of it. We're really close. I'm really enjoying season 2 as well, for what it's worth.
Does it maintain, season 1 levels?
I more or less, I think so. I think it's pretty consistent. I've seen some people who have not liked season 2, but we've been enjoying it to the point where when one is over, we want to hit play on the next one. So that's always a good thing.
Some of the stuff in season 1 started to lull just a little bit for me. Now, I don't think it got bad at any point. I wasn't as invested or interested, which is kind of part of the reason why I tailed off. And the other reason is I did want to pace, so I had some of it to watch. But like I say, once that flashback episode hit, I was like right back into it. So I was curious to see if it has more of that same interest level going on in the second season. Because I've heard, I think Brendan's seen all the season or most of season 2, and he said it was still just as good. Or somebody said that. Maybe it wasn't Brendan.
Yeah.
We always blame everything on Brendan. So
well,
I don't know. I haven't heard the chatter.
Pretty much always his fault.
I just haven't heard as much chatter about it, so I was curious. Either way, I'm going to watch it.
So this little bit of news came out recently, and I saw a lot of people upset about it. But for me, I kind of was like, to me, it just felt like confirmation of what I already assumed, and that is that Superman and Lois is not part of the Arrowverse.
Which is very interesting because one of the episodes that I just watched this week had Diggle in it.
Yeah.
And mentions of Lila and Argus and all that stuff. So how can you say that that's not part of that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. But to me, I'm like, it's so much has felt like its own thing that I just sort of assumed that was the case. Where I'm like, okay, I guess after Crisis, this Superman and Lois universe is sort of its own universe. And that was just the way I took it because there's been so little connection to the rest of the Arrowverse anyway. With that exception, I forgot that Diggle showed up. But anyway, this was confirmed by showrunner Todd Helbing. Here's what he said. From day one, there were questions on how we were connected to the Arrowverse. If you go back to the first script that got sent to Warner Brothers and DC, it had a lot of references to other heroes like The Flash. There were moments when we were shooting, and I think I've said this before, but there was a photo of Kara on Lois's desk. All that stuff slowly got pulled out, and the more we did that, the more it became a can of worms to even mention it. DC and I had a conversation during season 1, and the decision to keep Superman and Lois separate was made then, but I couldn't make it public until the end of the season. So when I got all these questions, I knew what we were doing, but I couldn't talk about it. It got a little frustrating on my end, but I totally understand DC's position. So this put that to rest. I've said from the beginning that we want to put our own stamp on the Superman property. This wasn't meant to alienate us from the Arrowverse, but because a lot of other shows are sadly no longer going to be on the air, it felt like the right thing to do. We have to think about this as a separate Superman, a doppelganger of the one who was in the Arrowverse. I understand why everyone has been wanting the references, but it just felt wrong.
Okay, interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and that's right. Island is just kind of like, okay, that's fine. Like I can't bring myself to care too much one way or the other, because for the whole show, it has felt very much like its own thing, and so I've just sort of accepted it as such. And I mean, there are things in season 2 where I was like, somebody need to call Supergirl, and when that doesn't happen, I just imply on my own. I'm like, okay, I just don't think that she's around in this universe.
Yeah, come to think of it, I can't recall them even mentioning her name to the point where I'm at in the show anyway.
Yeah, I feel like the only overt connection thus far has been when Diggle showed up, and like I said, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, a lot of fans were upset about this. For me, I just don't care one way or the other. Like, if it was connected, great. It's not, that's fine too. As to the point here where the Arrowverse is pretty much gone anyway. Okay, that's fine.
I guess it makes the transition easier if they need to shift the show from, CW to HBO Max, which hopefully they do, instead of scrapping the show or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I like you, I don't have any real strong feelings about it either way. I mean, this was spawned out of the Arrowverse, so to cut the ties seems kind of bizarre to me, but
Well, especially because I know that Brendan would have agreed with me. I really wanted John Cryer's Lex Luthor to be part of this, and he never has, and there's been very little mention of Lex at all. So again, but I think I want to say he died in the main continuity. I can't remember. But anyway, like, that was something I wanted to see, and has not come to pass yet either. So I think this further shuts down that possibility.
yeah. I mean, eventually they're going to have to do something with Lex, you would think.
You would think. But I mean, I also give them credit for sort of focusing on other things that aren't Lex.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing their own thing, and really, the look and feel of it is, to me, far more cinematic than what any of the other CW shows were.
Yeah.
So it does, just by look and feel, it feels like its own thing by comparison. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm good either way.
Yeah. But it's confirmed. For everybody who's upset, I'm sorry. I'm not. It's fine for me. I don't care. Speaking of DC on HBO Max, we're finally getting season 3 of Harley Quinn.
It's only a couple weeks away.
I know, July 28th, season 3. It's about time. I can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. It has been far too long. It's a hoot, and I'm glad it's finally coming back. Also, I noticed this as when I was out of town. Sometimes when you're staying in a hotel, you just kind of leave the TV on. Mm-hmm. They're showing season 1 of Harley Quinn on TNT.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it like heavily edited?
So I only saw the last 3 minutes of an episode, because that's how I realized. I'm like, wait, they're showing this on TNT. They're also showing Titans on TNT.
Huh.
And I kind of get it, where it's like, hey, content is content, and it's already old news for streaming, so why not?
And the more eyes, the better. So.
Yeah, but all I saw from the last couple minutes of an episode of Harley Quinn is it seemed like it was the same show, but they just bleeped the F-bombs.
Okay. I mean, some of these networks have just made the full jump transition to mature content anyway, like FX.
Yeah.
Doesn't even try to hide their stuff anymore. They're just full-blown like HBO and Showtime and whatever else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I didn't know if TNT had made that jump also.
Yeah, I didn't either. That was my first question. Is, oh my god, like are they editing them? What is going on? But again, from what little I saw, it just seemed like it was bleeped. But interesting, and again, but if that gets more people into the show and that allows for more viewers on the next season, so the show can continue, great. I'm excited for season 3. The show cracks me up, and so I'm excited it's back very soon, a couple weeks.
I watched the trailer for it on HBO Max the other day.
Oh yeah, how was that? I
Yeah.
did not watch the trailer. How was it?
It's just a short 1 minute thing. They're definitely rolling with the Harley and Ivy relationship, not shying away from that one bit. The only question mark I have about it is it's King Shark, right?
Yes.
His voice sounded different, and I don't know if it's just catching him in a weird delivery or something like that, or if they changed the voice. I don't know what happened, but it was Ron Funches that did the voice, right?
And according to this press release, it still is. So
okay, yeah, it might have just been one of those things where he was delivering it, because usually he's like really upbeat and a little bit on the loud side and stuff, and this one was like quiet and dour almost. So again, I didn't know if it was just a context moment or if they switched the voice. But it definitely caught my attention because I was like, that doesn't sound like what he normally does. But yeah, it looks good. It looks like the same fun time that we've been rolling with the first 2 seasons. So I'm all for more.
Great. Sweet. Coming back.
There is a reference to a certain thing with Batman that was a little bit of controversy in the news a while back involving Catwoman.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
I think you'll appreciate.
Great.
So.
Cool. All right, Harley Quinn season 3, and I don't know if it's worth mentioning, but there was also some rumors floating around where James Gunn said something about wanting to do more with Harley Quinn, and that led to rumors that he was developing a Harley and Ivy project. But I don't know.
He's in Harley Quinn.
Yes, that's right. That's right. He is.
And it's actually his part of it was, like I say, it's only like a 59-second trailer, and James Gunn's kind of at the tail end of it, and even that was funny. So
yeah, that's right. I forgot he has a little cameo. So anyway, we'll see what happens, but I'm excited about it.
But I mean, if he's going to do a Harley and Ivy series, like especially a live action one, hell yeah, I'll watch that. Sure.
Yep.
He's got a lot of goodwill from me after how much I enjoyed Peacemaker. So
yeah, for sure. Well, it's always good to get new DC animation, and we recently talked about Soul of the Dragon, and these DC animated films keep on coming, and we have a trailer for a new one. The new one is Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons. We got to see the first trailer this week, and it is very interesting. It is CG, but it's like cel-shaded CG, so it is computer generated, but with the look of traditional 2D animation. Did you watch the trailer?
I did.
All right. Well, firstly, here let me share the synopsis, and then we will talk about the trailer. It says, to be young and charged with saving the world from impending doom. That's the burden that 11-year-old Jonathan Kent and reluctant young sidekick Damian Wayne face in this all-new DC animated movie. On his birthday, Jonathan Kent learns his dad is Superman and that he has latent superpowers of his own. He also meets the legendary Dark Knight and current boy wonder Damian. But when the two boys are forced to team up to protect their loved ones from a hostile alien force, they become the Super Sons they're destined to be. So, we got a trailer, and what did you think?
Listen, in the Rebirth era of DC Comics, they did a Super Sons series.
I remember.
And
I read a little bit of it, too.
I believe it was Tomasi and Gleason that did it, and I think it was one of the better books. I enjoyed it. It had a great energy to it. It was a lot of fun, really well drawn, really well written, and the dynamic of these two being the polar opposite characters they are, bouncing off of each other, much like what Batman and Superman are, but maybe in a slightly different way. It's a really good time, and for me, this trailer seems to have really encapsulated that feeling and that vibe. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is the most I've looked forward to one of these DC animated movies in quite some time, because it just looks like it's going to be a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't look it up. I meant to look it up and I forgot. Is that Conroy doing Batman?
Oh man. Let me see if I can find that anywhere.
If not, it's one of the guys that sounds like him.
I'll check. One
Okay.
second.
But they do the little bouncing off of each other. Damien throws the batarang at him, and it hits him, and it hurts him. And Damien's like, "Well, he's obviously not gotten vulnerability." That whole dynamic feels like it's in place to be much like what the book was, and just a really fun, good time. And then they're bringing in, is it Starro?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that'll be intriguing to see how they stand up to the Justice League characters who are under possession of this alien force. And to me, the animation looks great. I mean, like that was the first thing that caught my attention, is how much I really like the animation and the movement and the way it seems to have been done there. So yeah, I'm way into it from what I've seen.
No, I agree with you. I think that when we heard, okay, so it does not, what I found does not have casting for Batman yet. So
Okay.
your guess is as good as mine. But anyway, yes, this was one that I think when they announced it, they did announce it was going to be CG. And I think we all went, I wonder what that's going to be like. But I think the animation looks great. Like, I really love what they've done with it. Like, it looks very clean. It looks expensive. It looks very cool. I love the designs on everybody. Yeah, I'm very impressed with how it looks. And you're right. It seems like the dynamic is what it should be between the two Super Sons. I did read a little bit of that book, and it was really fun. So I'm into this. I think it looks great. I like that it incorporates the Justice League and that these two are going to have to go against them. The shift on how Starro takes over his victims is new. I've never seen that before.
It's gross.
It is gross, but it is certainly shocking. But yeah, like I think it looks great, and this is one where I had kind of forgotten about it, and now that I've seen the trailer, I'm really looking forward to it. It looks great.
Do we have a release date on this?
We do, October 18th.
Okay, so sooner than later.
Yeah. It'll be October before you know it.
I know, it's like 3 months away, man. That's madness.
I know.
It also means Scarathon's that much closer, though. Yay!
I know. Well, I'll tell you, I put out my my little yard sign, and so I switched it out for the 4th of July yard sign, and right behind that one was Welcome Fall. And I was like, oh, I'm only one banner away from the fall. Yay! But yes, no, I think this trailer, I think, impressed a lot of people. I saw a lot of conversation and chatter about this, of how good it looks. And I think that, I don't know if people weren't not excited, but I just think it sort of fell off the radar. And this trailer did a lot in going, oh my God, this looks great. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, Damien is one of those characters that really hasn't gotten, that I've seen in the circles we run in. He's not a very popular character amongst a lot of us. And I know, some people think that he's kind of usurped Tim Drake and taken away some of that. And I think that's a fair criticism. But that Super Sons book I mentioned is what really started warming me up to Damien as a character. And the more I read, the more I liked him. And I've become a fan of Damien at this point. So hopefully some of you out there kind of get that shift made with this series as it happens, or this movie as it happens, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he's still going to be the obnoxious little butthead, but he starts to learn to be a better person as the book went along. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm definitely along for the ride on this one.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to it. October 18th looks very cool. So, and then something we did talk about briefly before I left. We've gotten more details, or rumors, I guess we'll say. I don't know about details, but there are certainly rumors about the sequel to Joker. So we talked about the sequel to Joker is moving forward. We talked about the subtitle, Folie à Deux, and everybody just sort of assuming that meant Harley Quinn. And then now we've got a new report, and this one comes from the Hollywood Reporter, so I actually do give it some weight, is that Lady Gaga is indeed in talks to play Harley Quinn. And what's funny is when this rumor came out, I remember after Joker made $1 billion and there was talk of a sequel, I remember even then there was fan casting of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. And this feels like, oh, it's one of those fan castings that could actually come true, but I'm not mad at it because it also, to me, seems like the perfect casting in this world with this version. And then also that the movie will be a musical.
That's the part that kind of threw me for a loop with that report. But I got to tell you, much like so many other reactions I've seen, that is so bonkers that it's going to be amazing, or very well could be amazing. Like you don't see it coming. You don't think about it. You didn't think, hey, I wish this was this. And then somebody says this is what they're doing. And you're like, that could really, really work.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that seems odd to me is it almost is going to have to be a tonal shift for the movie compared to the first one.
Yes.
You would think. Unless you're going to make one hell of a really super dark musical, which is possible. But like even something like Sweeney Todd, I've never seen the play or any of that, but I've seen well, of course I've seen Jersey Girl, which is the best version of Sweeney Todd. But I've also, seen the Tim Burton version. And, obviously the subject matter of that's really dark, but it still has a lot of those Burton humor moments where there's some, I don't know if tongue in cheek is quite the right word, but like a little bit of lightheartedness among the darkness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I guess they could take that approach.
Yeah, there's like dark humor to it.
Yeah. And listen, Lady Gaga, that woman is so talented. She's an awesome singer, but there seems to be some people out there with conflicting opinions to mine, which, welcome to planet Earth, right? I think she's a fantastic actress. So I'm really excited to see what she brings to this character if they get this deal done.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Lady Gaga is an inspired choice. I love her. I think she's amazing. She's so talented. And I think she'd be a great Harley in this universe. It's almost too perfect, but that's okay. I'm good with too perfect. And on the last time we talked about this, I even said, I'm like, yeah, I just hope there's some sort of hook that gets me more interested because I'm not super into it. But Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn and doing a musical, that's the hook that I need. That I'm like, okay, I'm actually really, if those things come to pass, I'm really looking forward to this. That seems really fun to me. So I hope it's true, because if that is the case, I'm into it and I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it pans out. But again, this is something that has really gotten a lot of traction. It does feel like it is the case, at least when they made that report. And so I hope that comes to pass, because Lady Gaga's Harley and going musical is weird, but I like weird, so I'm into it.
At this point, it's going to be a real heartbreak if either the Lady Gaga or the musical thing doesn't come to pass.
Exactly, right. If these things don't happen, I'll be like,
oh, to it. I can't let go of how great the concept would be.
Right.
And I really don't even know what to expect out of it, but I have that feeling deep down,
Yeah, for sure. So it shall be interesting, but keep an eye on it.
With my luck, they won't get the Gaga thing put together. They'll cancel the musical aspect. They'll hire somebody like Jennifer Jason Leigh, who I can't stand, and then I'm right
Jennifer Jason Leigh. God, is she still around?
Oh, she's still there.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but anyway. Yeah, I'll be very sad if this doesn't come to be as reported to this point.
Yeah. What they don't get Lady Gaga, they end up getting Whitney Houston.
That would be a tough get right now, I think. But
all right, well, we'll see what happens. Put me in the column for excited.
Fingers crossed.
And then one last thing is another rumor, but it came from The Rock himself. This is going back to Black Adam. So one of his fans replied to a recent tweet from The Rock about Black Adam, and it says, "Heroes, I can't wait for this movie. I don't care if there are no cameos in it, but if there are," and he put up an image of Black Adam and Superman's emblems smashed together. And it would have been very easy for The Rock to ignore this. But The Rock did not ignore it. He retweeted it. And he said, "From back in the day when I was wrestling in flea markets for $40 a match, all the way to now, I've always learned to listen to the audience because they will always lead you to where you need to go. I hear you, and I always got you. Hashtag Black Adam." So
it feels awfully optimistic. But what's he got? Like 30 million Instagram followers or some ridiculous number like that?
Yeah.
For him to choose that tweet to respond, or that particular one to respond to, maybe it's reading too much in it. Maybe it's being too hopeful, but man, I don't know.
The fact that he chose to respond to this particular tweet when he could have ignored it, there's got to be something there.
One would think.
Which is very exciting. I hope that's the case. You know, we've certainly been in the bring back Henry Cavill camp, and if anyone can do it, it was The Rock. So I'm trying to not get my hopes up, but at the same time, my hopes are up.
You've seen Scary Movie, right?
Yes, it's been. I think I saw it in the theater one time.
The scene where Cindy and her boyfriend are in bed together, kind of toward the end.
Yeah,
and it kind of has that really crass, lewd moment
where she ends up on the ceiling.
Yeah. Those of you who have seen the movie know what I'm talking about. I have the feeling that if this does come to pass and Henry Cavill winds up in this movie, there's going to be a lot of that reaction going on.
Yeah,
I know that'll be my reaction.
Yeah, I know, and that's just it. Is like now at this point, if it doesn't, I'm like, Rock, why would you get our hopes up like that? Why would you do that to us?
Yeah. Just, it's like with the Gaga thing. Now, if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be sad.
Yeah, same. But
I feel I didn't get a chance to be on the episode where we talked about the Black Adam trailer, but I really feel like they're holding an awful lot back about this movie.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I'm seeing, what
is it?
Sabak, whatever. That still sounds like the card game in Star Wars to me. But anyway, there's nothing about the trailer that I'm like, I'm turned off by. But it's like I watched the trailer and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. But I was gonna watch it before this, and this doesn't give me any additional motivation to see it any sooner. So like it's a good trailer. It just didn't feel like a great one. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought they've worked so long and so hard on this thing. They have to be holding a ton of stuff back. So if they haven't even shown the main villain, any potential cameos, any of that stuff, I mean, that all feels to me like a good sign of things to come.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed.
And we're so short time to that now. I mean, I imagine we're probably going to get another trailer, but
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I'm good if we don't, but you know me, I'd rather be underserviced than overserviced when it comes to trailers, especially since BVS.
Yeah. Well, especially since we're already sold. You don't have to sell us.
Right. But it's the general audience they need to get into the seats. So how do they do that? Because we were all going no matter what. So yeah. I hope Henry's there.
Me too. Well, we'll find out also in October. October's going to be fun. We got Super Sons, we got Black Adam, we got Halloween. What's not to love?
Pumpkin season is returning.
I was drinking pumpkin coffee this morning for our conversation.
I was drinking regular coffee. I've been out of pumpkin for a while.
Oh, see, I stock up. Got to keep that going.
Because you're smarter than me.
Got to keep that.
You're either smarter than me or you have a lot more restraint, because I ran out a couple months ago with the coffee. So.
Maybe a little both.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, I only drink my coffee at home on the days I don't go to work or I work from home. So it's not like I'm not dipping into my supply 7 days a week. It's usually more like 3 days a week.
Okay.
So it lasts longer.
That'll last longer, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm out of Count Chocula. I'm out of pumpkin coffee. I need it back.
I'll tell you what, I did buy the Patriotic Tricks and the Patriotic Cap'n Crunch because they have 4th of July Tricks and Cap'n Crunch. And they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
You bought Captain Crunch, so all the blood loss you're not experiencing from the Manscaped products, you are experiencing on the roof of your mouth.
You know, I feel like they changed their recipe many years ago to put an end to that joke.
Did they?
I think so.
I haven't eaten it for many years, so maybe I'm just behind on the times.
It's so good. I mean, Halloween Crunch is like my secret favorite.
Really?
Yeah. And it all just tastes like Captain Crunch. It's just different colors and shapes, but that's okay.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah. Oh, and speaking of news, DC news and Captain Crunch, currently on shelves right now, there are DC cereals. There's one for the Flash, and there is one for Superman/Supergirl, and they are both branded as Captain Crunch.
Is that a fact?
It is a fact. I got 4 boxes in my cupboard right now. I have not broken into them because I'm eating the patriotic stuff first because it's 4th of July weekend. But yes, so there's Flash cereal and there is Supergirl cereal. I have not tried it yet, so I don't know if it's any good, but I had to buy it because the artwork is beautiful. And I was a little mad. I'm like, no Batman? Really? No Batman? And it turns out that is because they've released oatmeal for Batman and Wonder Woman. And so oatmeal. Batman is like chocolate oatmeal, and Wonder Woman, I don't even know. Because I have not bought those because I don't really eat oatmeal, and I also have not found them. But I'll probably buy them just because, but I don't know if I will ever eat them because I'm not an oatmeal guy. But yeah, right now, DC fans, go to your local Target, go to the cereal section. My guess is you'll find the Flash and Superman cereals.
Now, are these Target exclusives, or is this? Like
They're not exclusive to Target, but that's where I found mine. So
okay, all right. Because I don't usually grocery shop at Target. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, our pal Jay Yaws was, recently on Twitter. He's like, "How is everybody finding this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like every Target I've been to in the past 2 weeks have had it. So go to Target. That's probably your best shot."
I will pay attention the next time I'm at the store.
But yeah, I'll report back as to whether they actually taste good. But the boxes are beautiful. I put it up on Twitter. They're great.
I mean, you said chocolate oatmeal. That has my attention because I've never had chocolate oatmeal. And I'll pretty much eat. I mean, if you dip a weed in chocolate, I'm probably going to eat it. So it has my attention.
Yeah, like I said, I'll probably buy it just for the Batman and see if I like oatmeal. I probably haven't even tried to eat oatmeal in 20 years. But if anyone can get me to do it.
Don't you know it's good for you?
That's what I hear. That is what I hear.
It's heart healthy.
But do you know what else is good for me? Blueberry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was so sad. I pulled that last box of chocolate off the top shelf of the cereal cabinet, and I was like, this is the last one. And I opened it and I wrecked it in like 3 days. And I poured that last bowl and like the single tear just rolled down my cheek. Oh,
you want to hear the saddest story ever? I did that with my Monster Mash cereal, which was probably only last year, probably not coming back this year. It was the last bowl of Monster Mash. I poured it. I'm like, all right, I've got to enjoy this. It's the last bowl. I put in the milk. The milk had gone bad. I wasted the entire last bowl.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yep. It was one of those things where like the expiration date was still a few days away, but it didn't matter. It just spoiled early.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yes, I feel like I have enough cereal between the DC stuff and the patriotic stuff, and they have Jurassic World tricks, so I bought that too, to get me to spooky cereal season. Because much like the coffee, I pretty much only eat it on weekends.
Between your cereal stash and your barbecue leftovers, you should be set for the rest of the year.
Yep. All right, that's what I got for news. News and rumors, all kinds of stuff. So, let's check in with you, fine feathered finks, and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
First message here is from our old pal Ulysses George. It says, "Hey guys, I hope you're having a great weekend. It's been over 8 months since my last email. So I wanted to take a second and say congratulations, Andy and Brendan, on being fathers, as well as having a baby. So yeah, cool. I bet the sleeping schedule is terrible. I finally caught up with all the episodes that I missed in the last couple months since college courses are kicking my ass, but I managed to get all A's and 1 B. I managed to see the Batman in theaters 7 times, 3 times in IMAX, 2 times in Dolby, and 2 times in a standard theater. Even my parents like the movie, and they hate superhero-related stuff. I don't have a problem that you guys didn't like it, because at the end of the day, it's just an opinion. Like, I like Batman and BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League minus the killing, but I hated everything else. But it's my opinion. At the end of the day, it's just an opinion, and these guys love Batman. It is like a Batman comic writer who writes Batman. Not everyone will like the interpretation. I'm excited for the sequel. Anyway, I have like 1 or 2 questions. Number 1, have you guys read The World's Greatest Superheroes by Paul Dini and Alex Ross? It's really good, especially the Batman War on Crime story. If you haven't done an episode, I think it would be a great idea for a future episode. Since you guys finished Batman Beyond, there is actually Batman Beyond the White Knight comic based on the Sean Murphy Batman universe. It's really damn good. There is so far White Knight, Curse of the White Knight, Harley Quinn Presents, and now Beyond the White Knight. Have you guys read any of it? And if so, what do you think of this Batman universe? Seriously, we need more comics episodes. Lastly, you guys should definitely listen to Batman Unburied, the audio drama podcast on Spotify, because it's so freaking good. The voice acting, sound effects, and everything is so good. I was very impressed. I'm hoping for a season 2. It's only 10 episodes, 30 to 40 minutes per episode. I recommend you guys listen to it while you lay down or you're taking a walk because you'll be invested in the story. Anyway, take care. Hope you have a good one. Sorry for the long-ass email. I'm Vengeance. All right, thanks, Ulysses. And thank you for the message. I'm glad you got all A's and 1 B. So questions, The World's Greatest Superheroes by Paul Dini and Alex Ross, and the White Knight series. Jamie?
First thing I'm going to address, I did like the Batman. I just didn't love the Batman. I just want to be clear on that. I know I say it a lot, but it's true. I mean, I have problems with the movie, but overall I think it was way more good than bad, and I did like it.
No, man. If you have one criticism, you hate it, and you're a hater, and you're not a real Batman fan.
Some people do seem to take that as the translation, but I'm here to tell you it's just not the case. At any rate, World's Greatest Superheroes, yes, I read that several years ago. I enjoyed it. Of course, Ross's artwork, I mean, that's great stuff all around. I've never seen a Ross panel I didn't like. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and I'd be down to do an episode for that. The White Knight stuff, I read the first White Knight story. I loved it, and I pretty much haven't read very much of it since. I did Curse of the White Knight, I think, is where they kind of brought the Azrael aspect in. I think I read most of that, and I still liked it. I just didn't love it as much as I did the first story. But I haven't read any of the Harley Quinn or Beyond stuff.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it had kept going. World's Greatest Superheroes, I don't know if I've read it, but I definitely sounds right up my alley, so I need to check it out. And then I did read White Knight, but I didn't read all these sequels. I didn't know there even were all these sequels. So I liked it a lot. Actually, I liked it more than I expected to, but I just didn't know it kept going. So I'm apparently very behind on the White Knight saga. And I appreciate that you want more comics episodes, but you're the only one. When we do a comics episode, nobody listens. But anyway, appreciate it. And then as for the Spotify podcast, I've still not listened, but it did get renewed. So that should make you happy.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet either, but someday, maybe. I still haven't listened to the audio adventures on HBO Max.
Well, and that I haven't gone back to because it's on HBO Max. Like I don't listen to a podcast on my TV. Like when they put the first
weird thing.
They put the first 2 episodes up on the podcast app, and I listened to those, and it was really fun. But then it's like, oh, but the rest you have to go watch on your TV, and I'm like, it's weird to me. Like I'm like because it's, I don't know, it's just it doesn't work the way I think it should. But all right, next email is from Jody. It says, hey guys, I love the podcast. I hope all's well. I was wondering why the Terrible Trio have not been used in a movie. Heck, why not for the Batman 2? Pissed off rich boys that the Wayne Foundation money has dried up and Bruce remembers them from boarding school. I don't know, I think it could work and keeps the realism that Matt Reeves is wanting. Anyway, I enjoy the podcast. You guys keep this trucker awake. Thank you for your hard work, Jody. Thanks, Jody. I think that's interesting. Yeah, I don't think I'd want the Terrible Trio to be like the big threat in a Batman movie, but it does feel like a pretty low-hanging fruit, especially for this current Batman universe, where they could be like the opening sequence or something like that, or like they could be a subplot with what's going on. So yeah, I think it's not a bad idea. What do you think, Jamie?
I'm not familiar with the Terrible Trio, so I don't really know what to say about that.
Okay.
I kind of get the gist from what you guys are saying, but
Well, do you remember that there's a Batman the Animated Series episode?
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
No.
let's go back and look it up. But
Don't get old, people. Your memory's the first thing to go.
right. All right, next message is from James Mullins. It says, "Hey fellows, as Batwheels creeps up on us, I look forward to modern Batman content that I can feel comfortable sharing with my young daughters, Harley and Quinn. I played the long game. As a flip side, I also tried showing the 6-year-old the Batman, and she flipped out when the Riddler bludgeoned the mayor. So then we tried Jaws, and now I'm sleeping on the couch. My question is thus, do you have a specific memory of a movie where you saw it way too young? I remember hiding behind the couch while my dad watched Basic Instinct when I was about 8, and I learned a lot. Have a good one, James Mullins." Thanks, James. So
He's got a paranoia of ice picks.
yeah. James also was happy that we gave him a shout out for the Titty Moss on the, I think it was the Soul of the Dragon episode.
Teddy Moss. It's a thing, y'all.
At least for you and James.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anything that you remember seeing way too young, Jamie?
Most things.
Yeah.
Like pretty much any inappropriate non-horror film I saw way too young. Because I went to the theater with my dad pretty much every Friday from the time I was about 5-ish until probably somewhere in the middle of high school. Every Friday went to the movies with dad, and we'd see everything from the Terminator to all the Chuck Norris movies, all the Schwarzenegger movies, all the Stallone movies. And, we'd see them the day they came out. And I was watching, Schwarzenegger and Stallone fight, third world armies when I was 7 years old. So yeah, probably way too young, but I somehow turned out to be a mostly well-adjusted human being. I think.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe when my blackouts, I'm not as well-adjusted as I think, but Jaws, I saw Jaws when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and man, I wouldn't go in a swimming pool without teeth chattering for like 2 years.
So much the same. I feel like, we're children of the 80s, and I feel like in the 80s our parents were just like, whatever, at least it was for me. So I definitely remember we watched Flashdance a lot as kids, and then our parents would just tell us to cover our eyes during the strip scene. There's like a whole strip club scene. So I definitely watched it through my fingers, of course. And then when I was home alone after school, I would pop in Flashdance and just fast forward to the strip club scene. So that didn't work out. But yeah, like my parents they didn't really care what we watched. And so I watched a lot of stuff too young, but I can't think of anything that truly like, I wish I hadn't, like I remember watching A Nightmare on Elm Street very young, and I loved it. And I certainly had nightmares about Freddy a lot, but I still never regretted watching it because I like nightmares because they're fun. I like being scared. So yeah, like I watched everything inappropriately young, and I never minded.
Well, we also have like the rating system and how it's changed in our lifetime. Like the stuff in the late 70s to almost up to the mid 80s that you could get away with in a PG film. And then when they came around with PG-13, even some of the early PG-13 stuff is things that would automatically get a film slapped with an R rating. So, I mean, that's also involved in this, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving forward, next message is from our pal Tim Rooney. Hey, Tim. He says, "Hey guys, I just paused your Black Adam trailer episode to deposit a theory on how the movie should go or could go. Black Adam starts as a slave, is given his powers, is warned by the JSA to not allow the powers to corrupt him, except in the swing from second into third act is Black Adam going too far. The climax is actually the JSA defeating Black Adam, sealing him away, but then the final scene is Black Adam being woken up by the soldiers, allowing Black Adam to be trifled with by Shazam in the future. It's just a theory. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Take care. Keep being awesome, Tim." Thanks, Tim. I love it. I love it. If that's the way it went down, is he gets more corrupted as the movie goes, and it actually ends with him going too far and the JSA having to bring him down, I think that's a great way of doing it. And then you can still have him as an anti-hero for most of the movie. I'm into it. Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, that feels like as good of a theory as I've heard about it to date, and I don't have any issue at all if that's the way it goes down, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be great. All right, next message from Stephen Marshall. It says, "Hey guys, hope you're well. Regarding The Rock can't lose a fight contract, that was clickbait. You're right, Andy. It was a clause for the Fast and Furious films. I believe that he and Jason Statham have the same clause. But as for whether his Black Adam fights Superman, Shazam, or both, I think there is a way for him to lose without him getting beaten down. There is usually something in big fights, like a moment of luck or a moment of realization, that will end these sort of things, so I'm not worried about it. Moving on to Suicide Squad 2016, it's been over 5 years since it will be released. Will you guys be looking to do a retrospective commentary for that film? And lastly, I pointed out last week about the Batman Beyond Static Shock crossover, but did you also know there was a Batman the Animated Series, Superman, and Justice League crossover episodes on that show too? Anyway, thanks for your time. Catch you later. P.S. Tell Jamie to follow me back on Twitter. Kind regards, Stephen Marshall." Thanks, Stephen. So, I mean, yeah, the Rock thing, I thought, yeah, I definitely knew that was a Fast and Furious thing, but I think that for Black Adam and Shazam, like we discussed, I think it's going to be fine. Commentary for Suicide Squad. We haven't discussed it, but you're right. That's coming right up in August, so it's an option. Jamie, thoughts?
6-year anniversary commentary, yeah, why not, I guess. I don't have any opposition.
Oh, you're right,
to
it is 6 years. Crap, 6 years, not 5.
Yeah.
We like to do nice round numbers, Steven. Okay. And then, yeah, the additional crossovers, thanks. We haven't made any decisions on that. Jamie, any additional thoughts on this?
I'm sorry I haven't followed you back on Twitter. I'm terrible about that sort of thing, so hopefully I remember the next time I'm on there.
That's okay.
Apologies.
It's I mean, you just were getting back into the swing of things, so.
Yeah. I've actually not participated very much on Twitter even recently because people are angry right now, and I don't need additional anger in my life. I have enough of my own. Anyway, yeah, the Static Shock show, I hear a lot of people talk about how great that is, and it's been like on my to-do list, but it's one of those things that's like such a low priority for me. I've never gotten around to it.
Yeah.
But I hear nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, same.
I'm sure it's one that 5 years from now I'll finally get around to start watching at like Lois and Superman and Lois, and I'll be like, shit, I really should have done this earlier.
All right, let's move forward. Next one's from Julian Chan. It says, "Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I just wanted to address the Flash movie. Just thinking that even half of what I hear about Ezra is true, releasing The Flash would be extremely dicey for WB in my opinion, regardless of the money already spent. I don't really know what I would do in their shoes. Personally, I wasn't happy with what the film was going to set up allegedly, and I thought the postponing of the release was a good thing, and hoped that Discovery had demanded reshoots to change the story. Perhaps it was because they knew of Ezra's problems. If they end up canceling it altogether, I will be morbidly glad because of the aforementioned direction that they were taking. That said, I'd also be heartbroken for everyone who worked so hard on it, especially newcomers like Sasha Calle and Kiersey Clemens. I'm pretty sure that if they do release the movie, I'm very sure Ezra's time as the Speedster is over. So, if you were WB, what would you do? Would you move forward recasting Barry, or would you introduce Wally? And if you three were a tag team wrestling trio, what would your names be? I like the Hillbilly Haystack for Jamie. Anyway, keep up the great work. Rest in peace, Tim Sale, Jazzy Jules. Thanks, Jazzy Jules. I mean, we kind of talked about this last time, is you don't cancel a movie that you spent, whatever, $150 million is on the low end. $200 million is probably more realistic.
And they're probably above that now just because of all the false starts it's had.
Yeah. So you don't just go, never mind, and take a $200 million loss. You just don't. And I also don't think you can, as a lot of people say, I don't think you can reshoot it replacing Ezra, because then you're doubling that. At least you're ending up with a Justice League situation where now it's $300 million and you can't make a profit on it. So I think that what I said last time is kind of how I stand, is you release it as is. It is what it is. And maybe you reshoot the ending where Barry does become someone else, or something like that. But you release the movie as is, and then you recast from that from that movie forward.
I do not envy the poor SOB that has to make this decision.
Yeah.
Because it's to me at this point, and I know this feels really down, but I don't think this is a situation that Warner Brothers can win, no matter what they do.
Yeah.
They're either going to have to take a hefty financial loss, or they're going to have to roll the dice and hope that they don't get buried with a financial loss with the product as is. I think either way, it's an enormous gamble.
Yeah, it is. And here's what sucks so much about it. I mean, there are many things that suck so much about it, but this movie is so important in the setting up of the DC universe on film.
Yeah.
So like, it's not just, oh, it's the Flash movie and it is what it is. It is literally like, there are waves of things that this also affects that they were counting on this movie to set up.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really tricky, and it sucks, man. Talk about, oi.
And if you legitimately have to make the choice to reshoot Ezra's stuff, and he's playing two different characters in this movie, Lord have mercy. I mean, it's just
you're just remaking the movie at that point.
They're painted into a corner here.
Yeah.
This could be, and again, I'm not trying to be negative or down on this, but this could be worse than Justice League as far as the financial disaster that lays on the horizon for it.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Like I said, whoever has to make this choice, I'm sorry for them. Legitimately sorry for them.
Yeah. They're in a hell of a situation here, and it's not getting better. That's for sure.
As far as Ezra is concerned, I mean, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I want them to get help still, no matter what. I want them to get help because they're in a clearly very off situation. I don't know what's true and what isn't, but from the stuff that I've read flying around, as Julian was saying, if even half of this is true, they're in a bad way.
Yeah.
And I want this person, this human being, to seek help and to get help no matter what. But as far as this role is concerned, there's just absolutely no way I see that they can pull back from it at this point. No. They have to recast, or they have to get a Wally in, or whatever. They can't go on as is. There's just no way that can happen at this point. Even with a 6-month-long apology tour, it just can't happen at this point.
Yep. No, I know. And that's just it, is like, I've given Ezra the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I did the same thing for Joss Whedon. I know. I give people the benefit of the doubt too long. I do it with celebrities. I do it with friends. And then most of the times I end up regretting it, but I do it. And
you know what that means? It means you have a good heart. So don't ever apologize for that.
Well, and so, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like the quote in Scream: "You can only hear the Richard Gere Gerbil story so many times before you start believing it."
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of smoke, so there's some fire there, and it's just a PR nightmare. So, I don't know what you do. I think you release the movie as is, and you shut down Ezra however you can, because it's freaking insane, and then you recast, or you just step away from the character of the Flash for a little while and recast later.
I mean, at this point, they have a liability to deal with in the fact that if they decide to roll as is, they have to worry about what happens with Ezra between now and then.
Yeah. Yep. So, but Julian, I'm glad that you're happy about the situation. That's good. I'm glad that you're delighted that this is happening. As for a wrestling name, I have no idea. I'm gonna go with Butters from South Park. I'm Triceratops.
Brendan would obviously have to be the killer koala, right?
Yes, that's good. That's good. I'm open to suggestions for me. I have no idea. Do you have one for you, or do you like the hillbilly?
I'm the hillbilly haystack. That works for me.
All right. All right. Next question is also about the Flash. We covered that, so we're just going to move forward. Next question is from Joel Haas. It says, Andy, you haven't seen The Untouchables? I mean, why? Come on. I don't want to oversell it to you, but if you're a fan of things like movies, just give it a shot. You owe it to yourself. Joel, I'm going to say this. I've said it many times. We all have our blind spots. I am sure there is a classic movie that you have never seen that I could give you crap for, but I'm not going to, because I know that we all have our blind spots.
I totally appreciate that, because guess what? I just watched Field of Dreams for the first time like 3 or 4 days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That surprises me, but okay. Okay.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah, it is. It's a great movie.
I like it a lot.
It's a great movie.
I'm sorry it took me 33 years to watch it, but hey, better late than never, right?
Yep, we all
And
have
as far as
those.
Untouchables, I'll say this. I don't know, knowing you the way that I do and your sensibilities, I don't know if this movie is going to be anything that you're going to kick yourself in the ass for waiting 35 years to watch. But I will say Sean Connery's interrogation sequences is a Hall of Fame all-time movie scene. It's worth watching just for that.
It's De Palma, right?
Yeah.
I love De Palma. I do. I'm sure I would like it. It's just, just haven't gotten around to it.
It was on one of the streamers the other day. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but it was floating around out there.
Yeah. Cool. Speaking of blind spots, guess what I watched last night for the first time ever?
I actually saw your post on Facebook about it, and I already forgot what it was.
Return of the Living Dead.
That's right. Yes.
Because
Good
some
4th of July movie.
Some of y'all said it was a 4th of July movie. I don't
I mean, only by actual calendar day.
Yeah. I was hoping for a little more 4th of July in it, but I gave it a shot, and I bought it sight unseen because, shoot, like I'm 80s horror. I'm an easy lay.
It's a great time.
Oh my God, it's insane, and I liked it.
Two is a little bit squirrelier version of the thing. You may like it. I know Milks does. I'm not a fan. 3 is really good, but it's a lot darker and a lot less tongue-in-cheek. And then any of the other ones after that, just do not do it. Just don't. But anyway.
Yeah, I bought it sight unseen. It will not be joining my 4th of July playlist, but I'll watch it again for Scarathon because it was super fun.
I dig that movie. Send more paramedics.
I mean, yeah, there were moments like that where I was like, oh, I know that moment. I didn't know that this was the movie.
Yeah, I tried to dupe you on that too, because I told you that The Goods Live Hard, Sell Hard was a 4th of July movie. And much like that, it's because it takes place on 4th of July weekend, but it really has no theming to 4th of July whatsoever.
Yeah.
I just think you should watch it because it's so ridiculously hilarious.
Which one is that one?
It's the one with Jeremy Piven and Catherine Hahn and Dave Koechner.
Okay. I can't remember if I've seen it or not, but
they're like a mercenary sales team that's trying to help this car lot that's on its last leg, and they come in and do this. I've been in the car business for 25 years, and I've been around it my whole life, so maybe it appeals to me more than it would most other people, but it's hysterical in my opinion. My wife hates it, but she hates it.
but most movies. All right, next message from Jacob Waxter. It says, hey, it's me again. I wanted to check in, say hi. Here's my question. Have you heard of the comic series Batman The Adventures Continue? It's the rest of the Batman animated series, which is my second favorite animated series ever. My first, of course, being Harley Quinn. Anyway, have a good rest of your month. Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, I read all of Batman The Adventures Continue. That was another one I subscribed to. And I liked it. I didn't quite love it just because I felt like they were trying so hard to just introduce other things that were not part of the show. That, I don't know, it almost took away from kind of the core of it. It didn't always feel like an extension of the animated series, but I enjoyed it. Did you ever read it, Jamie?
I read the first, probably 2 or 3 issues of it. And it wasn't that I didn't like the book. I just kind of got away from reading comics. Like I can't tell you the last time I picked up a comic and read it, to be honest with you. But I liked it. I didn't continue on with it because it kind of caught me at the tail end of me getting away from regular reading.
Yeah, I read them all, but like I said, it was so focused on like, we're gonna do Red Hood, we're gonna do Deathstroke, that I was like, yeah, but like, shouldn't we have something with the Joker eventually? You know, like, so, shouldn't we do something with the actual other characters? All right, next message is Stuart from Guernsey. It says, hey, it seems like a perfect time to ask questions considering what a week it's been. After The Flash and Keaton is part of the main DCEU, if there was only one character you could carry over from the previous universe and movies with him, which would it be? A massive part of me would be Nicholson as Joker, but realistically that wouldn't happen. But I do think it's very possible for Catwoman. Michelle is still enthusiastic about the role, and her character didn't die in the film. I think I know Andy's answer, but I'm curious to know Jamie and Brendan's. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. Thanks, Stuart. Stuart, I feel like we've answered this in the past. I do think Catwoman is the most realistic and obvious, and
I'll go one step further and say the best.
Yeah. So I do think that that's probably the way to go. I think the only other realistic options would be DeVito's Penguin, except he died. Or Kim Basinger's Vicky Vale, and I don't know what you do with that, but
yeah,
she could. But yeah, I think Catwoman's the way to go. Obviously Knox. Knox is the way to go. And then
I mean, Jim Carrey's Riddler is there and available, but is that? Do you change the entire tone and whatnot of that character to make it work with Keaton?
Right.
Because you'd have to, almost, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Catwoman just makes the most sense, and to me is the best choice.
Well, and I guess you're right. Like, I wouldn't hate bringing Jim Carrey back as the Riddler, as an older, wiser Riddler, but I just never think of that because that wasn't Burton's Riddler, that wasn't Keaton's Riddler. So you'd then be meshing the two together.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're literally only going from the Burton stuff, you have to do a side character like Knox or Vale, or you have to do Catwoman because everybody else is kaput.
Yeah. Although, I don't know if you saw this. I didn't bring it up in news because I try not to worry about, or like, I try to be smart about which rumors we talk about. But apparently Batgirl had a test screening last week.
Oh?
And I'll just say, apparently there is a nod to Pfeiffer's Catwoman. Just a rumor. Not the rumor. Right. The rumor is not that she's in the movie, but apparently they do acknowledge her. So,
weren't they also saying something about Dick Grayson potentially being in the rumor mill? Because obviously, after a test screening, they would know, right?
Yeah.
It seems to me that would have found its way into more of the trades if that happened.
Yeah. Again, it's all just, it's just test screening rumors, and so you never know what's going to be true. Sure. But take it as you will. All right, next message is from David Wang. It says, hey guys, I'm here to ask a casual movie question that sort of ties into your recent Soul of the Dragon episode. My question was inspired in part by your 5 Perfect Movies Real Fans episode. It is, what are some of your favorite non-English language films? Or what are some non-English language films that you would highly recommend? One that I would highly recommend would be Batman Ninja. Just kidding. I never watched it beyond the trailers. One that I would actually recommend, even though it's a hard watch, would be Der Untergang, aka Downfall, from 2004. There's a serious film behind all those online Hitler rant parodies, I promise. Oh, is that what that is from? I've seen all the Hitler rant parodies, but I did not know where it came from, but okay. Back to your 5 Perfect Films episode. I love Seven Samurai very much. I've been slowly venturing into more Kurosawa films. And it's been fun to recognize familiar faces from Seven Samurai. But to finally tie it into Soul of the Dragon, I hope Jamie's here to hear this. At the outtakes of that episode, Andy regaled the listeners with his choice of a Chinese name, Bing Bing, which is typically a girl's name. But gendered names shouldn't be so rigid these days. Well, if you know either Japanese or Chinese, there would be a hidden layer of similar reveal to one of the great comedic moments in Seven Samurai. When the drunken Ronin points to his position on the family tree scroll, some of the other Ronin did the math in regards to the year of birth and explained, well, you look very mature for a 13-year-old, thus busting him for being illiterate. However, if you can read the line in either Japanese or Chinese, you would find that what it means is 1,000 generations of chrysanthemum. It was a girl's name, double busted. It would be there if it had been an illiterate gunslinger in the Magnificent Seven who pointed something like this at his name. I hope it makes a decent bit of funny trivia and not on the IMDb trivia. Thanks for the show as always, David. Thanks, David. So, non-English language films that you would recommend. Jamie?
Do Australian movies count?
Yes, they do. I was going to say Crocodile Dundee. Priscilla, Queen in the Desert.
Seven Samurai is my obvious choice there for more reasons than I can count. But other movies that readily come to mind that I watch with any regularity or frequency, they're probably not going to be on anybody's all-time hot list or anything, but like Train to Busan, I think, is an excellent film.
That's another one I need to see. I've never seen it, but I've heard nothing but amazing things.
It's a strong one. I highly recommend that. I Saw the Devil, I think, is another very strong one. There's a case to be made for that being possibly the best Punisher movie ever made. Old Boy, the original Old Boy, is a very strong, powerful movie. I feel like I'm like missing out on a lot of the European stuff because I'm just not prepared for this conversation because I didn't have prep time to think about it.
That's good. You're doing better than me because I got nothing. Like, I know I have seen non-English language films, but none of them are ones that I watch regularly where I'm like, oh, you got to see this. So I'm not much help on this one. I'll say The Artist. I love The Artist, but that's silent, so I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then one of Catherine's favorites is Amelie.
That's an excellent movie.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I really think that movie needs more recognition than it gets.
What's weird is it was an Oscar winner, and then it feels like it sort of slipped into obscurity.
It's faded into obscurity, much like what The Artist did. But I just recently watched a movie called One Cut of the Dead. And I don't know about classic status or anything, but the presentation of this movie, you have to bear with it. Because once a certain turn happens in the movie, you'll be like, oh. And then you watch the rest of the movie and it's like, oh, wow. And then as it goes on, you just appreciate the craft of what they did with the film. But you have to be able to make it to that point, because up to that point, it's actually kind of a tough watch. And you're just like, well, maybe I've made a mistake here. No, you haven't. You just haven't reached that point. So I guess I'll recommend that one based on that. That's a Japanese film. There's one that I just watched not very long ago, and it's not coming to me for some reason. Oh, Chocolate. It's a
Chocolat?
No, this is just called Chocolate.
Okay.
It's a different movie. This is
never mind.
One of my Chopsaki films, but it's a really good one. There's a lot of heart involved with this and some fantastic stunt work. Ong Bak, the Thai Warrior, is one of my favorites. I would say a lot of early Bruce Lee stuff, but most of that you can't even get in Chinese with the English subs. You have to get everything dubbed, which is annoying as shit. But I don't know. I could go on with weird recommendations like that, but as far as like the powerhouses, I can't. I'm having a hard time pulling those out right now. Like there's some French language films that I've seen that I just absolutely thought were great, but none of them are like popping into my head right now, you know? There's a really good Russian movie called I'll butcher it trying to say the actual name, but in the States here it was known as Night Watch. Very well directed, very interesting concept. It's almost one of those high concept kind of films that the concept is better than the finished product, but it's a really good, strong movie. That's a Russian language film. Gosh, I don't know. I could go on rambling about this stuff for a while, but those are what come to mind right now.
No, that's great. What?
The Korean movie, The Host. It's like a monster movie.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Great. Good work. All right. One more email here from Rich Wood. It says, hey, guys, I'm new to the podcast about a month ago, and I love it. I'm 71 episodes down, 280 to go. Wow. I'm sure I'll be writing again many times, but today my question is, where can I get quality DC apparel? I checked out the DC shop, and while I'm sure their stuff is great, I was really surprised they didn't have a wider selection. I know I can get pretty much whatever I can imagine delivered to my door in less than 24 hours from Amazon, but most of that stuff is poorly made. One wash and it's done. I figured you guys would know all the great spots for apparel, collections, etc. Thanks for all that you do, Rich Wood. Thanks, Rich. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining the show. Quality DC apparel. I mean, the answer is everywhere. Really.
Yeah.
Which is not helpful, but
No.
DC has so much licensed clothing everywhere that you just keep your eyes open. Like, I buy quite a bit at Hot Topic and Box Lunch. I love those places, which I think are owned by the same company, BT Dubs, but they usually have really great nerdy stuff, and so I go to Hot Topic and Box Lunch a lot. I certainly do find and buy stuff on Amazon on occasion. Yeah, the DC shop, I've not bought a lot of clothes there because you're right, the selection is surprisingly small, so I'm sure you can find some more specific stuff there, but I don't think that's the place to go. But I mean, shoot, Target occasionally has DC shirts. Walmart does, but they're not the best quality, and everyone wears them because everybody can get them for $7. But they work in a in a crunch. But yeah, I mean, I have so much DC apparel. Oh, I'll tell you, a place that I've recently discovered is Cakeworthy. It is online. And that is where I got that cool shirt that I wore at the party, Jamie. Cakeworthy.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason, I was under the assumption your wife had made that.
She bought it, but she did not make it.
Okay.
So yeah, there are so many great.
That was a great shirt, by the way.
Yeah, it was awesome. So that one's really cool. Oh, 80stees.com has good stuff that I have bought a lot of over the years, or superherostuff.com. Check there too.
That was going to be my biggest recommendation. Superherostuff.com. Number one, has by far the best single location selection for geeky stuff that you will ever find. And number two, their stuff is really high quality and thick weight normally, so it doesn't shrink up really bad, which is a problem I have because it's hard enough to find crap in my size because I'm such a big person anyway. But none of the stuff I've ever bought from them shrinks up, and they got that nice heavy weight. And they're not going to be the cheapest, but with anything else, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And the other place that I have tremendous success with in that department, and the selection won't be as good, but their stuff is quality, and I wear it a lot, is JCPenney.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. They've gotten some really cool stuff over the years. And I had one other thought, because I do most of my shopping online these days. Even though when I do jump into a store and I find random Batman or DC stuff, I can't help myself. But Merchoid, try Merchoid, Merchoid. Merchoid they have really great collectible stuff, but they also have really great nerdy clothes and stuff. So check there too.
You know what the worst part about superhero stuff? I haven't bought anything from them for a few years now, but the worst part I have with that is you know how you have that problem sometimes when you're sorting through your digital library or something like that, trying to find something to watch, and you wind up taking an hour and a half to figure out a movie to watch?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that problem on superherostuff.com because I'm like, oh, look at this Wolverine t-shirt, look at this Batman t-shirt, this Superman, this Green Lantern, this Wonder Woman. Like, you can go down a rabbit hole with all the stuff they have going on over there. It's crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
But like I said, for me, I think quality-wise and best single location selection, I think that's your best bet.
Yeah, good call. All right, that's lots of options for you, Rich. I hope go shopping, buy yourself something nice. We went to Six Flags when I was in Illinois, and they had some really fun stuff. That's one thing I love about Six Flags, even though Six Flags is, it's Six Flags. But because they have the DC license, you can usually find fun DC merch there. And yeah, they had some cool shirts and stuff that, I bought some DC merch. Some of it you noticed at the party. I bought DC bottle openers for the beers.
You have no idea when you guys were like, grab some stuff and take it home. I'm like, I wonder if he means the bottle openers.
No, those are for me. Those I keep.
Those were cool though.
But they were, right? I was like, we were at the park, and I was like, hey, we need bottle openers, right, for the beers? Here we go. And so yeah, we bought those. I also bought a shirt because they had their Pride collection. I bought a Batman shirt, and it is him with like all the different rainbow suits.
Oh, cool.
And it just says fabulous under it.
That's great.
So I bought that too. All right. That's it. We're closing the Wayne Manor mailbox. Guys, thank you for all the messages. Glad we caught up. Feel so good. So thank you guys. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you can send that to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. That's where we're wrapping this baby up, Jamie. Thanks for getting up on Sunday morning, having coffee with me, and catching up on news and emails.
Yeah, it was a good time. Get a little bit back into the swing of things, and now I get to go listen to the entire city of Fort Wayne blow itself up for the next 48 hours.
As we do. So
last year was so crazy at 4th of July, and they didn't have like a lot of the big gatherings because of the whole COVID thing. People and individuals buying fireworks set off so many fireworks. It was like the mist with the cloud of fireworks smoke that was all over the city. It was insane.
It's okay. That's fun. I'd say because Indiana, they sell like big fireworks, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like in Illinois, we'd always drive to Indiana to buy fireworks.
Well, we haven't always. It used to be we would go to Ohio, but then they started having a thing. This is the dumbest law in the history of mankind. You could buy out-of-state fireworks in Indiana, but you had to sign a waiver that said you will not set these off in Indiana.
Oh.
And
yeah.
how many people do you think obeyed that law?
All of them.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they eventually just got to the point, okay, we're going to lift the ban. You can have all this stuff, but you can only do it on like certain days, like 24 hours before and after July 4th, through that period you can do it, and New Year's Eve and stuff like that. But, it's been going on for a week.
Nice. Yeah.
People just blowing stuff up left and right.
As we do. Anyway, tell people where they can find you.
On
so
Twitter,
you can not follow them back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm terrible about it. I'm really, my social media footprint is very, very small at the moment. On Twitter at BatRaider3960, on Letterboxd, my name, Jamie Drewley, and on this fine podcast.
Sweet. All right, I already told you where to follow me, but I always forget to add Letterboxd. So I've been getting much better about logging my viewing in Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'm starting to get better about actually leaving reviews on stuff instead of just the star ratings.
Yeah, me too. Did you hear that email we got last time that was like, how is it that Jamie has seen Hot Fuzz and you haven't? And I'm like, I've seen it. I just didn't put it in Letterboxd yet.
Because Jamie spent like 3 days recording all of my IMDb entries.
Yeah,
onto my
you
Letterboxd
committed to like backlogging it. I didn't do that.
And now it used to be I'd sign in, I'd watch a movie for the first time, I'd go on IMDb, I'd rate it, and I'd be done. Now I go on IMDb, I go on Letterboxd, I leave a review on Letterboxd, I'm on the Facebook page in the movie group RF4M posting about it. I mean, I've lost my sanity with this.
And Letterboxd is fun. Once I've started getting into the habit, is like whenever I watch a movie, I go in and I log it and I rate it, and it's fun. So
I like that section on the homepage where it's like you're popular with your friends right now or something, and I look through it, I'm like, what the hell are you people watching? It's actually a good time. I'm enjoying that app because it doesn't take up a lot of your time. It's not like you're having to read like a scroll feed like Facebook or Twitter, and it just you see what people are watching. It's like, I haven't seen that before. I haven't seen that in a long time, or it's like about time somebody else other than me saw this. So,
yeah,
I enjoy it for those reasons.
Good. All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for downloading the show. Please do subscribe or follow the show wherever you get your podcasts, and please rate and review us. If you like the show, rate and review us. If you don't like the show, that's okay. You keep it yourself. If you like it, rate and review us on iTunes or Spotify. Visit holybatcast.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. It's all Holy Batcast. Again, if you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, send that to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the very talented Gaurav Venkateswar. His work can be found at gvtunes.com. And don't forget, do a little shopping online this week, not just for Batman apparel, but also at manscaped.com. Go to manscaped.com, check out what they got, and if you're going to make a purchase, please use the promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. But that'll do it. On behalf of Jamie, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same Bat time, same Bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
We could turn a slow news week into 2 hours and 12 minutes. That's pretty impressive.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
We can find any way to waste 2 hours.
Long-winded motherfuckers.